Tonight I will present you Ionic. For me, it's the kind of badass UI mobile framework. But at first I just want to ask you if there is someone who already played with Phonegap before, or if they use it at work. There is someone? Hands up, hands up, hands up. A lot, okay. Does someone already use like Titanium, Corona, kind of these frameworks? No? Maybe, I don't know this one. So, well, at first I will present myself. My name is Yassine Rezghi. I'm a French-Tunisian web developer who's working at Governor Hub. It's a startup based in Westminster, and we're basically providing a private social networks for school governors. And yeah, this is me with Steve Van Dyke. And yeah, by the way, I'm 21 years old. So before I will show you all the cool things that you will see with Ionic, basically the majority of my slide will show why I chose Ionic more than Ionic the framework, because basically you just have to Google Ionic framework to see the documentation and to see that it's cool. So, but my presentation will show you why I chose this one instead of others. So now, if you want to do some native code, you have to choose a lot of language. You have Java for Android. You have Objective-C for iPad, iPhone. I consider Mac not especially as a mobile platform, but now even on the Mac or Windows 8, we have like an app store. So I think even if you are making your application, think about this kind of app stores too, because I see a lot of people who are downloading some application from the Mac app store, from Windows Store. I don't remember the real name, but there is a lot of Windows 8 tablet in some companies. So don't forget that there is the desktop market, but the new desktop market, not the old one, downloading application from cnet.com and companies. So yeah, you have Java, C#, different other languages like C++, for example, and Objective-C. And if you want to do like JavaScript coding, you have at first the web mobile, so you have application that you will launch directly from the browser. You can just do it normally with the kind of tools and framework that you will use usually. You have the hybrid, which is you have Phonegap, Intel XTK. I will not talk a lot about it because I don't really know it, but it's always good to have some competitors, some alternatives. And you have web to native converter. That's why I was talking about Titanium. And native JavaScript directly when, for example, in the Chromebook, in Firefox OS, and in Windows 8, you can create application with JavaScript. You have all the UI stuff. It's really handy. So why you have to choose this platform, this kind of, hybrid or web mobile like that? It depends on your need. For example, if you do some games, I think HTML5 is really cool, but still not that ready compared to the others. But for simple application, I think an hybrid like Phonegap is considerable for your production application and not just Hello World, some cool project, open source project. You can really use it in companies. So the problem is we say that HTML5 is really handy, it's really cool, but most of the people say, no, dude, let's use native code, it's much better. And I will show you why there is still a lot of people who are not convinced. Because HTML5 has a lot of disadvantages. First, not 100% API coverage. By system cover API, I mean, Phonegap is just a bridge between native code and JavaScript. Basically, you will just have some methods that you will get the camera, you will get all the system APIs. But for example, you still don't have a Bluetooth API, and I mean with all the kind of features that you have on the phone, you cannot use all of them with Phonegap because it's still not that ready. and they didn't develop everything to handle that. The lack of debugging tools, now it's not that completely true, because we used a lot of distant debuggers on Chrome, for example. You can do that. So I will not, compared to before, it really improved a lot. And you have, it's basically the main problem. People say it's really slow. Well, I mean, I had a Samsung Galaxy S before, and on Android 2.1, 2.2, maybe 2.3, yeah, it's true. But now with the Android 3, which is really old, 4.1, you don't really see that difference. If you play maybe games in HTML5, maybe, but in simple application with just display data, doesn't really show the difference. And not totally multi-platform. I mean, HTML5, as you see, there is always that vendor prefix. Sometimes iOS handles stuff, Android not. Sometimes it's the opposite. So HTML still have this problem. But the main problem is you will have an ugly interface. Because when you look at the native application, basically, they look good. When you will use certainly jQuery Mobile, Sunshine Touch, and all the kind of frameworks. It was good and it was cool in the beginning of the mobile. But now when you look at it, it's pretty ugly, really. On iOS 7, it's like you have the first iPhone with jQuery mobile, and with the native code you have a really handsome, really cool and beautiful application. So for me, jQuery Mobile, I don't really consider it as a good user interface for mobile. So yeah, when you look at it, it's really the kind of components, stuff that it's not relevant anymore on mobile. I mean, when you click on it, you will see that you click on a button, there will be a border around it. It's not that handy. And some people say, yeah, why not use Bootstrap, Foundation, Semantic UI, and other competitors? For me, it's not relevant at all, because there is a lot of problems with these frameworks. At first, a desktop legacy, it doesn't come mobile first. Even if Bootstrap 3, they say, yeah, we think about mobile first, it's still just a conversion and translation between a desktop framework to a mobile framework, not the opposite. You have, it's really heavy. You have the, as Chris say, about the 300 millisecond delay when you click. Yeah, you can add fast click, but in the end, you have to add a lot of things to be mobile ready. That's the problem. And yeah, responsive for me, it's not that relevant for mobile app. Maybe for your website, it's really handy, because basically you just have to develop it one time and it goes everywhere. But on mobile, you really need to think for mobile users. You have to think about interaction that we don't have on desktop. Something on desktop, I mean scrolling with the mouse, clicking, mouse hovers, stuff that we do on desktop, but on mobile it's completely different. For example, the slide is something that everyone uses on mobile, while in desktop it's not, we cannot really do it. So, for me, responsive definitely it's not, it doesn't worth it for a mobile app. For web mobile, okay, but not for mobile app. So, what is the good solution to make a mobile app? For me, I think it's better to separate stuff. For example, when I say Sunshine Touch, it's not that relevant. It's because they handle everything. So when you want to modify something, you have to go deeply in the core. It's really ugly code and really hard to maintain. So it's better for me to separate, to have a bridge. It's basically Phonegap or Intel XDK. You have the logic system. For me, it's AngularJS, because Ionic work well with AngularJS, but they're already thinking about having a support with Backbone, Ember, and all the others. And you have, in the end, a UI framework. So yeah, this solution exists. And basically, tonight I will, My presentation is already nearly in the end, but I will focus more on Ionic. But you can replace it with another solution, but it needs to be really mobile only, not mobile first or responsive or any bullshit buzzword. It needs to be only mobile, because it's really not similar. It's totally different. A desktop is as big like that with a keyboard, with a mouse, when a mobile is only 4 inch, maybe less. So let's show me why Ionic is really cool. At first, Ionic, it's really simple stuff. It's just a UI interface, so you basically just HTML and CSS. But it's made specially for the mobile with many components which is relevant to the mobile. When I look at the modal stuff, for example, the modal of Bootstrap, which takes nearly 95% of the screen on a mobile, it's not that relevant. Mobile need to be more smaller. They need to have like slider elements, stuff like that, which is really mobile only. And yeah, it's really simple. You can even use it on a web mobile, because it's not specially for Phonegap or something else. Just it comes with AngularJS. And the big advantage of Ionic, I think, it's when you play with Bootstrap, for example, you will have Bootstrap.js, which basically it's some plugins with jQuery. But if you want to use it on AngularJS, for the people who knows AngularJS, you have the directives, which are the UI elements with some logic behind. And if you use Bootstrap, you still need to make some logic and some synchronization between AngularJS and Bootstrap.js. You have some projects like Angular UI, which basically do the job for you, but you always need a step more to have the results. With Ionic, they already think for AngularJS. They already give you the directive, so you just basically copy-paste in your application, and you have everything which work well. And you have all the controllers behind this directive. It's not only HTML5 and CSS3. For example, they have, I will show you just now, yeah, tabs controller, which is, you know, on any iOS app, you have different apps. And there, they manage an history, they have an history manager, so if you go back, you know, the icon on the top left, it will handle for each tab. You don't have a whole history manager like you will have, for example, with a jQuery mobile. You have a pull to refresh. So many people try to do it by themselves and they fail in that task. You have a sidebar directive, for example, something that we don't see in Bootstrap, so you will do it by yourself. It will suck. If you just turn in landscape mode, it will suck too. So that's the problem. Bootstrap maybe on web mobile is good, but as soon as you want to have a really cool native application, you will make dirty work. That's the problem. So you have a gesture manager, so you can all the gesture that you know, and everything is already packaged to work directly. You don't need to add additional work to finally work with. List directive like GML, you know, when you sweep on list to delete, to archive, or something like that. Something that maybe some people try to implement it and fail to do it too. And yeah, as I said, it's not only Phonegap. You can do it in web mobile, and maybe, who knows, you can do it in Windows 8 too, but it's really not that desktop friendly. That's the problem. So, I present you Ionic, which is made by Drifty. Maybe you didn't heard of the company name directly, but they are the people who made JetStrap, which is an online drag and drop tool for Bootstrap. Codica, which is basically like a wireframe system, not as simple as Balsamiq, because in the end you will have a demo of your application, but you can use it directly on your browser, while for example, Balsamiq, it's only images. And yeah, this project is really young. Just started in August. It's still in alpha, but well, as you know, many UI frameworks, they are in alpha, beta, but doesn't mean something now. Even Node.js, it's not in version 1. It's 0.12 now. And yeah, they're kind of badass. So this is the kind of, well, here it sucks. I have to give you the slide because we don't see all the contrast of the application, but it seems much more like an iOS 7 application. I made it by myself just for the presentation in 12 minutes, just copy-paste code, and everything is, you don't see on the top, but you have a tab down there too. It's really, really handy. And yeah, I didn't mention it, but they made Ionic Icons, which is a icon package, icon library for mobile. Really handy icons. It goes well on mobile because, as you know, a lot of people use icons that they found on Icon Finder or another website, and the problem is the icon, it seems well on 500 pixels, but when you put it on a mobile, you see nearly nothing. And yeah, there is a logo that I forget to delete. But so, what are you waiting for to use it? You have all the links. They're really, really, it's really handy. I mean, their team, they answer really quickly to every question. You can pull requests too, because the project is still young and still need some friendly developers to help it. So yeah, this is my presentation, and I made it with my boss, which is just behind here, James Sharp, and he helped me to make this presentation. So I hope you enjoy it. By the way, some questions?
What do you do for tablets?
For tablets? I think that's I didn't mention it, but yeah, that's the problem, because they have the column stuff, they have components, so you can use it, because in the end it's just HTML5, CSS3, but yeah, they don't take it, you know, when you have an iPad, you have a panel and the main view, yeah, they still don't take that in consideration. For now, they just focus on a really smartphone, but yeah, of course you can use it on tablet, just it's not that tablet friendly about user interface, but I think when you look at Bootstrap, jQuery mobile, there is not really a difference. You will do it by yourself, but Bootstrap doesn't help you directly. But yeah, raise an issue on their GitHub. Yeah.
That's what you were hinting at. That's what you meant.
On mobile app, yeah, definitely, yeah.
So if you
Depends on your needs. I mean, if you just have a basic customers who doesn't really give a shit about the user interface, just do a responsive design for everything and it will work well. But if you want something really handy, especially for tablets, especially for iPhones, and after that a special version for desktop, you need to make 3 versions. Otherwise, your application, that means you just give the application to the user, you don't take profit of the size of that screen. You just play with some major queries and hope that they will like it.
If you're not playing.
Well, for example, if you take Bootstrap, because I think here everyone knows Bootstrap, you have a normal width, which is span 12. If you put it on a mobile, it will show only 1 item, not, for example, 3 items in the same row. If you use major queries, it will adapt to the size of the screen. Yeah, but you will not have, in the same time, a real UI for the tablet. Because in the tablet, when you look nearly all the tablet application, you have mainly I take the Gmail application, for example. You have the panel, the menu. On the desktop, maybe you will have the sidebar that you will see. It's not hidden by default. And on phone, you will have really smaller. So I think it's not only a question of hiding columns or resizing them. It's much more work than that. But as I said, it depends. At first, you can just make 1 version when you don't have time and you want to keep your customers. But more you work, more you see that on tablet people will stay longer than on phones. They want to, on tablets they work much more than on phones, because on phone you just read, you don't write all a resume or I don't know, a document, and on desktop you work much more. So it depends on your needs. But what I said, it's basically you're a company and you take care of you take care and take profit of each platform. For example, on Smart TV, I will not just make a responsive design and put everything. No, on Smart TV, maybe it's really big, but the resolution, you will have your really huge icon because you don't have a mouse on your Smart TV. Maybe you will have a phone, or maybe it will be touchable, so you will have big icons. When you look at the Apple TV, they think completely differently. That's the point. Other questions?